Okay, again, we got in the equipment that you sent to us, the test equipment with the pump. Before we go to Victaulic, I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. And again, I want John to come in. I asked him to come in for third-party validation, and he had some very good points to make about the piece and how he thought Victaulic would perceive it.
All right, a couple things that I noticed with the unit, being that it's not a manufacturing device, but a testing device, and it should be held to a standard that's above manufacturing, is the fact that I see pressure gauges on here, okay, both liquid filled and non-liquid filled. None of them have calibrations on them. You cannot verify whether they are reading correctly or not. And from the condition of them, they don't look like they're brand new whatsoever. So we cannot confirm what their actual reading is. A lot of testing that gets done should have a validation sticker upon the gauge that it has been calibrated at minimum at least once per year to make sure that you actually have a gauge that is reading what it should be reading. You have dirty filter elements that were containing moisture, debris, and everything else in them. Okay. Now this is a filter element to try and stop stuff from going into the pneumatic system. But if you're showing up and this is your testing device, all the crap and everything else that's within this, somebody's going to want to know, why is that like that? You don't have very clean air coming into this unit and stuff like that. I see a pump here that has a manufacturing date of 2009. I do not see any documentation, stickering, and or any evidence that the pump has ever been maintained. So we cannot confirm or deny whether the pump is actually doing what it is supposed to be doing. Okay? And it should be maintenance as well as certified that it does put out the pressure that it's saying that it's supposed to. Okay? I was looking into some of the connections and stuff like that, and although they do have strainers, they are filled with, if you want to look down here, they are filled with all kinds of debris. The strainer is clogging up, which means your return water isn't probably getting the full flow that it is supposed to. I've checked other connections to make sure that some are clear, as well as some are rusted up and starting to close off. Okay.
Let's talk about the pressure on the liquid gauge too when it was bouncing around.
I did
On
review
YouTube.
the one operations video of you guys performing the test. Okay. When you were performing the test, as well as saying that it was 2.5 bar, you're really at 5, you jumped very quickly up. As you jumped up and then you went to 25 or 30 bar, then you said 40, you started jumping from 40 to 30 bar. That's quite a pressure swing for a motor that's supposed to be, or a pump that's supposed to be putting out a constant pressure. So you really don't have a static pressure load. You have a dynamic, which is it's going up and backing off, going up and backing off. Because if this is the gauge that you're reading to that hose, your pressure is jumping greatly. You're not staying at a constant. So this needs to be addressed. You need to make sure all the hoses are cleared out. You have connections to what is up in here with pieces falling down, fittings of this nature. From what I understand, this is where you adjust your pressure. There is nothing to tell me whether the pressure is going up, going down, nothing. There's also nothing to adjust it.
Well, we're probably just
A
missing
ratchet
that, so,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. The pneumatics are hanging off and loose. Okay. In a situation with a quality department or somebody who's going to look at stuff and saying, this is a testing unit, it needs to be brought up to a much higher standard because it is testing and you're sending your product out after it's gone through on this machine.
One other point too, John, if you could just mention real quick, the Victaulic test, you saw their couple minute video and you saw the equipment that they're using.
Right. I noticed just from from some of the glimpse in Victaulic's video is they're using Amatec digital gauges, which have a very precise accuracy to them, regulators and stuff of that nature. It is higher end equipment that is going to give a much more accurate reading and stuff like that. And unlike these gauges here, we have no confirmation on any of them of what grade they are, whether they be a grade A, B, C, and what their percentage of tolerance is. I do not know if this gauge has a tolerance of plus or minus 10%. And when you're going up to the bar levels that you are, that can mean the difference. It also can mean a big difference at the lower end, where if 10% out, you can definitely have a problem, and you're only going to, it's leaking around 10 to 20 psi.
All right, come back over to me.